Alright, this is going to be a guide to 2.1 Rising Tide Insane Mode. This strategy was devised by Balanite and Stewster on the forums. You were working it out. Stewster had beat it first, and then Balanite and I next. I'm going to use Balanite's strategy specifically because it works the best. It's also recorded, so it's the easiest to follow. When choosing between Mortar and Rapid Fire, both technically work, but Rapid Fire is much more spammable, especially when you need to collect food on the beach. And then their mortars are mostly useful if you upgrade them, and you're probably not going to have enough food early on to go about doing that. So Rapid Fire is simply the best option. Warriors currently are not worth building either. They cost way too much and their health isn't enough to be worth it. Because of that, I'm going to be using workers as tanks. Which also helps because they can collect food. And they can have more of them.
This Formica rufa wood ant queen has laid her first brood in the burrow near the sea. Her nest is just on the outskirts of the beach, the perfect vantage point for scavenging hapless morsels washed in by the tide. At the moment, the tide is out, but it won't stay that way. The ants must make haste and stockpile what they can, while they can.
The benefit to placing food here, and this is Balanite's thing, is it makes it easier to get food from the outside and
there is food to be found all over the beach, but the wood ants must be cautious and choose their trails carefully. Tiger beetles frequent the higher ground, and they will make quick work of any wood ant that strays too close.
Group 1 should be set to no combat, as well as Group 2 and Group 3. Group 1 is going to be the nest group, everything else, Group 2. They're going to be harvesting. You want to start with this food down here, and this food up here. You don't really need many workers, just because there's not going to be a lot of fighting. Only the ones that get attacked will fight back. Of my ants. So, you want to start with some of the stuff down here. You want to be careful because the beetles will actually walk up to it.
There are other wood ants out here. They have also come to take advantage of the buffet provided by the sea. Territorial disputes will invariably favor the colony with the greater numbers.
Those are quite fast, so they're hard to react to. There's one. There's another. for this next. As much of this as possible. These ants don't really defend it super well, so it's just easier to get. If you've never tried Insane before,
this colony must remain small for
you might be tempted to go for the stuff
Food
on the
is too
lowest level,
scarce to support
but in
greater
Insane,
numbers.
which is the only difficulty that does this, there are 2 beetles that come under this. Because of that, it's not really free food. You can kind of sneak in there and get it, but it's not really worth it. Especially because you need so much food so quickly. What is that? Group 2 to combat again.
The colony is starving.
But the nest
There's not
workers
enough
there.
food to feed the new brood.
And the spitters there.
The battle has begun. The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
I think I spent a bit much food there. I think the workers are gonna kill them. Nice. I'm gonna use this long hallway to make sure you can all shoot all the spitters.
There are intruders in the nest.
You won't have enough food for respawns, you're probably gonna need around an adult.
The water is rising quickly. The ants must head for higher ground.
There's gonna be a load of food in here. That should bring us up to 9. Let's go for 10, I guess. Looks like we have enough.
The tide has almost reached its highest point. The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded. Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected. The tide is in, and soon night will fall. As the temperature drops outside, nocturnal creatures begin to awaken. It would be wise for the roofer colony to stay underground and hope that their nest remains hidden until the morning.
He's going to talk about the hermit crabs, and that's what can tell you when the first set of crabs is going to spawn. It goes 2, 3, and those are all small, and then 5 small, 2 big.
Overground, nocturnal hermit crabs rule over the sands at night. These creatures are typically scavengers, searching for algae and dead creatures on the beach. But due to the unusual incursion of Formica rufa colonies into this area, this particular community of crabs has developed a taste for ant flesh. A hermit crab has found its way into the nest. The ants must mount a swift and decisive defense.
At like 20%, they have like a thing where they go in their shell and they regen about 20-25% of their health. So just note that they're a little bit harder to kill than they seem.
There are intruders in the nest.
As those 2 crabs die, you want to open up this and kill these. This gives you some additional food to work with. I'm also going to set these 7 to blue, which is still no combat, like I said before. And I'm going to have him harvest this. So I'll have 7 workers in the nest group, 7 harvesting, and 20 as tanking.
A group of hermit crabs have stormed the nest. The larvae must be protected.
Dig these out so you have more room to fire from. We don't want to risk harvesting anything at this point, because the next wave can very easily kill you if it gets too close to the queen. You want all of your workers alive so that you can keep hatching tanks. Nest workers, anyway. Alright, 70's enough, and then I'll let the blue team get the rest. Blue team's done. I feel like I regret building so many. Oh well, blue team's gonna be tanking for us as well.
More hermit crabs have found the nest.
We got 24 spitters, so we should be able to do a load of damage really fast. Big guy's going in his shell. Alright, big guy's dead. We're whittling down the little guys. You guys don't tank. Go hide over here.
The colony is starving. There's not enough food to feed the new brood.
Oh, we have it. Okay. I thought I was gonna need to do some sneaky food harvesting back here. But I think we actually did it. That was surprisingly... Wow. I didn't think I saved enough food. I was regretting making 24 instead of 23. Holy hatch spin. This is probably the best point to go open this up down here.
Predators are loose in the nest. The larvae must be protected.
Careful when you're digging down here that you don't dig this, otherwise your workers might go down there and get killed unnecessarily. This single pillar always gets me.
The tide is receding and a new day dawns. The hunters of the night return to the safety of the shadows, and the ants can begin to lay down new trails. The harvest must go on.
I'm gonna get some extra workers as well, so that I can harvest a little bit faster. We'll start with the lowest level. We'll build up here, and then we'll go at once. So food stores are full. Say what? I should probably make the food store bigger as well.
The ants must defend themselves.
Let's go up here and challenge these beetles. The smaller ones are actually really easy to kill.
The ants have been spotted by Cicindola dorsalis, the beach tiger beetle. With its long, slender legs, it's the king of speed on these intertidal flats. Its wide, carving jaws will slice effortlessly through squads of wood ants. It's going to take a monumental unified effort to bring
we never aggroed the upper here tiger beetles. Because we're getting the dialogue for the first time. Nice. Go us.
The ants must defend themselves.
Oh, I see. Go for the little one. I swear I can't see half the little ones, and they're worth so little food. It hurts. It really does. When you see an ant grab one. Perfectly timed. Alright, we're gonna move up a level. Probably go for this first. There's just a lot there.
This colony must remain small for now. Food is too scarce to support greater numbers. The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
I'm not gonna lie, these guys are a pain to deal with. I prefer the beetles. Oh well. Mortars are actually pretty bad at fighting these as well, which is another reason to go for rapid fire. Okay, that's gonna take too long. Let's go here.
The water is rising quickly. The ants must head for higher ground.
Rapid fire, though, are much better because they can shoot moving foes. Mortars can't do that. So, rapid fire tend to be good for multiple spread out targets. Mortars are good for multiple, collected targets, or a single unmoving target. Man, why are there so many of these? I don't remember there being this many, but okay. Why do you pick up and drop the food? I'm waking out. My food stores are full, I'm done. Don't tell anybody about that.
The tide has almost reached its highest point.
It's never happened.
The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded.
God, that's so embarrassing. So during this time, we want to dig straight up here. fight him. Aha! Oh shit, got you. What the heck? What? What? Why? I did not set a marker there.
There is another creature roaming the sands tonight.
That was really smart, actually, because they got away with it.
The beach wolf spider.
They're thinking
in
for
the
themselves.
day, these spiders retreat to the shade provided by larger plants on the edge of the beach. But once the predators are loose in the nest, the larvae must be protected.
My ants have become conscious. Did I set a marker there and just forget? Oh, maybe it was like I was rushing to get off and I was moving left and I placed it to get them started moving, and then I replaced it. I guess that's possible.
A wolf spider has found the nest entrance.
Spiders.
She is only small, but her venom
the
will quickly
small ones are pretty
incapacitate
easy
any
to
ant
deal
that
with.
tries to fight alone.
Just make sure you're here for wave 2, because those can really wipe you if you're not careful. Just because they need a combined effort to take on. Blue team, you go up and harvest that.
The workers have done all they can to prepare this brood chamber.
Spider is fairly unique. They go for the
Another
queen,
wolf spider has entered the nest. This one is large, fast, and voracious.
They go for like the brood chambers first, and they walk around and kill everything nearby. Outside, they'll attack whatever's nearest on their way to whatever path they're going to. Once they go underground, though, they go for the brood chambers and kill everything nearby, and they do that for 40 to 60 seconds. And then they go straight for the queen. Because of that, it's generally better to not try to stop them here. Instead, you want to be where you think they'll go. They're also the only enemy that I know of that has venom. Which is pretty neat. It's essentially just a dot. You can get it on your ants in the form of carrion, but otherwise... I have 63 spitters, that's pretty good. This third wave is going to be the largest. It gives 4 small, 4 medium, or I guess they're kind of large, and then like 15 to 20 of a mix.
More wolf spiders have found the nest.
The small die pretty fast, fortunately. We also have a load of ants. So they shouldn't be super hard to deal with. Excellent. The big one, the medium ones give like 70 food, the small will give 44. Like 72. The odd numbers though, man, you end up with like 2 on one spider. 14, that's not bad. But other times it's like 2 on a single spider corpse, and it's like, why? Why do you waste my time? It's worse than a ladybug corpse. The ladybug corpse is 15 food, so you know, 1 ant can harvest it, but it allows 2 ants to harvest it at a time. So, oof. I'm gonna have the nest do the nest group. I don't need that 7. I have enough of these groups here. I'll have 50 after making these 3. And there are 17 in the nest. We'll make it 20 in the nest. Actually, we don't have anything to do, so let's go outside and kill things. We'll take on some crabs. Yeah, wave 3 is the big, harder part.
As the sun rises over a new day, the tide recedes. The nocturnal creatures return to the shadows, and once again, the harvest must continue.
Rep, no chance. He just wanted to go home. Oh, go away. No problem, we're big enough at this point. We don't have to worry about you. Look at your health drop so fast. That's 200 per corpse. And the big crab is like 186 or something. Some weird number, man. I don't know why they made weird numbers. Actually, I think the crabs have 5s at the end, so it's 185. They were less weird. Spiders are just kind of odd. I think it might be like a multiple of 7 or something. There we go. And I guess I'll spend some of it. So much food. We'll just harvest the lowest level as fast as possible. Dang it, I hate when they like run by when you want to fight them. Oh look, he's gonna come by when we're at our weakest point. Not really ready. It's okay though, we got him. At all. Oh, we're already headed back, you know. We'll follow through and go this way. Oh look, the perfect really thought that we were gonna get it all, and then I was just disappointed. No, that walk's way too long, man. Oh, we're going up here. Yeah, we got 90 spitters. 'em. He's trying to steal the food. It's mine. Do you have a salvaging permit? I don't think so. 2 reasons I would never keep ants in real life. First of all, I'm not really that responsible of a person. Pets in general, I suck at. And then second of all, I don't think I'd be able to resist starting ant wars. Or making life hard. You know what, let's not even go all the way back. Let's just loop around and grab this. An unstoppable force.
The tide is coming in. Soon the lower levels of the beach will be flooded. Any ants caught in the surge will be washed out to sea.
I only have 100 spitters. Aha, we flanked you. This is the scissor maneuver. Actually, I'm gonna call it the mandible maneuver. It's a bit more themed.
The water is rising quickly. The ants must head for higher ground.
Alright, I'm gonna take on the beetles. It should be fairly easy at this point. Look at that.
The tide has almost reached its highest point. The sands east of the nest are about to be completely flooded.
How often is it that you have way too much food? Oh god, we're gonna lose some. Why this horde even? They hate us. Oh, they're dead. I'm sorry. At least we have a little food. The stores are full again. I think another reason that Balanite sets his up the way he does...
The tide is in, and soon night will fall.
His spitters are a
As the temperature drops outside, nocturnal creatures begin to awaken. It would be wise for the roofer colony to stay underground, and hope that their nest remains hidden until the morning.
And his food chamber is placed here, so I think he's probably... What did I do? Huh? Hey, I guess they're collecting food. My ants are actually thinking for themselves, and it scares me. We can't have that. This is a fascist government. I'll have to establish a thought place after this. Yep, this is like
a wolf spider has found the nest.
15 again. I think some of them are larger,
ants
though.
must protect the queen.
Yeah, the ones that make noise are the biggest ones. And the biggest ones have this thing where they devour. Oh my god, lag. Look away! The biggest ones have this ability where they eat an ant that they kill, and they use that to regen health. So they're actually kind of hard to kill. You really have to focus them down, otherwise they just regen. And it was all for nothing. This was like 57 for the bigger ones, the medium ones. And these giant ones are 72. And I think the mother is even bigger. I don't know how big the mother is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not divisible by 7. 44? Dude, these numbers are just weird. What kind of, like, graph did they use to decide? Is it like a square root function? To decide what numbers? Maybe they're doing prime numbers. No, that can't be. 72 is not prime. I'm just lost. The corpses on spiders are just weird. I think the next attackers are crabs. So we want to be ready. There's gonna be a load of them too. I guess we'll start upgrading.
More hermit crabs have found the nest.
Yep, there's our crabs. There's so many that I can't really count how many there are, and of which sizes. Not super difficult to deal with, though. Epilepsy warning. My gosh, the lag. It hurts.
The workers have done all they can to prepare this brood chamber.
There's just so many. Alright, the mother spider is interesting. Because we don't have any high HP tanks, like the warriors, the baby spiders can actually do some decent damage. I think there's also 2 mothers that spawn instead of 1. So it's just that much harder. Oh god, it's already started. Yep, it's 2 of these gargantuan
wolf spider has
spiders.
found the colony. This one is a mother,
And the crabs
and
aren't
her
even
recently hatched brood have followed her into the nest. These ants are facing an overwhelming infestation.
My poor frame rate. You also want to be careful if your guys are, like, off somewhere, because they'll get really distracted with all the babies. Honestly, just the sheer numbers of them really can delay the large
ants
amount of
must
spitters.
protect the queen.
Hey, we did it! 104. Okay, so 44, 72. Oh, shoot, I forget, it was like 50 something. And 104. What do those numbers have in common?
The ants must protect the queen.
You're divisible by 2 and 4, I think. But not 8. Why multiples
The
of
queen
4
is
though?
in imminent danger.
It's just kind of weird. Their number choice. Of course, these guys are stuck in a perpetual loop of harvesting. We did it though.
The ants
Okay,
must protect the queen.
I am a little scared of all the baby spiders that are nipping at the queen. Oh, she's not taking damage. She's just looks like she is. Because reasons. I don't know why that's happening.
As the ants grow in number, the local predators pose less and less of a danger. Eventually they will be displaced from this area entirely. Despite the dangers of the beach, it seems this intrepid queen's gamble to establish her colony here has ultimately secured her success.
I'll just take it as a little victory, Jake. So yeah, that's 2.1. If you can do that, 2.2 is easy in comparison. That 2.1 is the hardest insane mode so far. In fact, I was pretty sure it was impossible when I was first doing it. Like, I had the luckiest moment. No, I thought hard was impossible. And then, oh no, because I used a strategy where I went to the lowest level. And then, because I thought the spiders were impossible to take on, but they actually were okay to take on in hard mode. But the hardest part is actually that third wave of crabs. I did not think you could possibly beat that wave. It's just, so I turned to the forums and I asked him about it. I was like, is this possible? And Stewster said he did it. And then Balanite and I took a while figuring out ways to do it. Well, I also forgot to mention, there used to be a strategy. Night 1, you would go out and collect this food that was laying around. And that was the best way to do it, because the tiger beetles weren't there, and the crabs are super slow. They've changed it now, though. The crabs, if they're aggroed, will actually go to the nest. So, harvesting that at night is a very good way to wipe. I would not recommend it. That's about it, though. It actually keeps going if you say play more, but, maybe I'll do that a different day. Well, happy hunting. I can't wait for the challenges, and, because 2.1 and 2.2 still need challenges, and then we're gonna get 3.1 and 3.3 in, like, January. So it's gonna be a while. But, this series should be done pretty soon. I already recorded for Formicarium Challenge 2, and I plan on doing 2.2, maybe today even. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Good luck in your own endeavors. This is indeed the hardest.